All right. Hello, everybody. This
Yes.
is Victor and Mia with the Business Heroes podcast. Obviously, I'm Victor.
And I'm Mia.
Yes. And we have another great show for you today. This is actually a pre record due to some scheduling on Sunday. So, who are our guests today, right?
Man, we have some really awesome people, you all. We really do. Should I say that when the people are us? Like, is that self
I
like
mean,
promoting?
I wouldn't have said it that way myself, but
See, aren't you supposed to think that you are awesome or no? Like, how does that work?
here's one thing to think it, I think, have other people say it about
You're
you.
right. Biblically, other people should be the ones to say that you're awesome. And to be honest with you, Victor is the one who reminds me to think positively of myself when I fall off. Okay. So I don't want anybody thinking I got a big head. But in any
She
case,
doesn't. She
no, I
doesn't.
don't. And actually, I remind him, which is great, because he definitely doesn't, go around promoting. But anyway,
Mhm.
focus on today's show. So, for those who may be watching for the first time, this is the Business Heroes podcast, and we are here to highlight business heroes. Well, what's a business hero? A business hero is a person that is pursuing not only profit, but especially their purpose. That is purpose and profit so that they can affect the world for good. Okay. And I really love this idea, Victor. I've really enjoyed doing this show with you. And it's really been fun, some of the things that we've been learning.
Yes.
And, before, we jump into sharing with people highlights that we've gotten from our past 5 shows, I really just wanted to ask you, how have you, like, what's been coming up for you as we've been doing the shows? Like, what are some things that are standing out to you as a business hero, a person that is pursuing purpose and profit so that you can change the world for good? What would you say?
Wow. I'm going to keep it short
Mm-hmm.
because we've got some highlights to go into. But one of the things I would say is determination.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're going into business, especially if this is your first time, you got to be
Yeah.
determined. There's always going to be roadblocks, things to discourage you and slow you down. But you've got to have a made up mind to push through. It's okay to take a dip, but you've got to regroup yourself and get up and keep going because people need what you have. God designed you for a great purpose, and we don't want to keep those purposes to ourselves, especially if they're to bless others. And so there's always going to be roadblocks, but roadblocks are only there to be able to highlight what God can do with you and through you in overcoming them. And so determination is one of the key things that I'm seeing.
That is really powerful. There's a key word that you said there, and it's the word purpose. And literally, can I just share this with you all? Let me just show y'all my business, if that's how I could put it. But I have this book on my desk, right? And this is The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And I really love this book. I remember, Victor, when you were listening to this, sometimes we'd have to take Victor to work early in the morning. We'd had car trouble, right? But it was a blessing because listening to the book reminded me of the fact that, as a business hero, this is not just something I'm doing to be cute, right? Just to make some money, but this is actually a purpose God has for me to fulfill in my life. And so I love keeping this on our desk. And another thing that I love about what you said, Victor, it's kind of like I heard you saying, like, remember your why.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be determined when you know that you have a purpose and then remembering the why of your purpose. And so I have this little fun bear here. It's
Koala.
a koala, right? And it's actually not koala bear. You're right. People think that it's koala bear, but it's just koala. Did you
Oh,
know that?
I forgot about that.
Okay, I
I
thought that's why you were saying it. So yes, a koala, not koala bear. Go Google it, look it up. But a koala, and this is the mascot for mental health first aid. And I'm a mental health first aid instructor. And the reason I'm a mental health first aid instructor is because a few years ago, for those of you who may be watching the show for the first time, I had what people would call a nervous breakdown. I was a new mother. I didn't know how to handle the stress and the pressures. I had a lot of lies believed about myself, about the society. I had unresolved trauma. And from that, I wound up in a behavioral health hospital and then on to a depression recovery program at the Wildwood Lifestyle Center. I later became the teacher of that program, and it was
mm-hmm.
a blessing to our whole family and to the campus. And later, I went on to do this. And I love being able to teach people the tips and the tools that help them recognize mental illness or potential for mental illness so that they can avoid it, right? And if not avoid it, how to manage through that so that they can have a good quality of life.
And how to recognize the signs and symptoms of others and be able to help them appropriately versus stigmatizing them and shaming them or dismissing them as demon possessed, which is often not the case.
Yes, yes. And so that's kind of like our why. Why are we being determined? Because the word has to get out about mental health. It has to be destigmatized. People have to know that a mental illness is an illness just like any other illness. People need to know that you can recover from mental illness. People need to know that, hey, let's say you were hearing voices or having hallucinations. Did you know that it could be something going on with your medication or urinary tract infection? And, we're not here to do a mental health first aid training, but these are some of the reasons why we're so passionate and just determined to push through. And we have other whys, right? Maybe we'll have to do a whole nother show about why do we do this? But I know that's not what we're here for today. So Victor, could I ask you another question though? Because I know you've been studying. Like I see you getting up early. You have to get up early anyway, but you get up extra early. You know what I mean? And you're studying and you're reading. Is there anything that's been standing out to you in the readings and studies that you've been doing as an entrepreneur that you would want to share with everybody?
Man, just briefly, Proverbs has a lot to say about money, about wealth, pros and cons. And, it seems like people think that, well, let me rephrase that. A lot of the Christian world seems to have this stigma surrounding wealth and having it and building it. And it's been really demonized. And I feel like that would be a whole other show. But we can see biblically that wealth is a good thing. It's a tool that can be used for good or for evil. I'll have to keep my mouth shut right there because if I keep talking, this show is going to be much longer and it's going to go off.
Well, I want you to go there. I think you should go there. Come on, talk about this because this is really serious. In our name, we're talking about business heroes, right? And we're talking about pursuing profit and we're talking about pursuing purpose. And, for some generations or some people, they may feel really uncomfortable about hearing profit, right? When you talk about a business for God. And so I think you should go ahead and take, some time to go there as to why that speaks to you in Proverbs.
Matthew, because Jesus is talking to the rich young ruler. And, most of you know the story, but, well, I can't assume most because I don't know who's watching. But the story goes, man comes to Jesus saying, hey, good master, what do I have to do to inherit eternal life? And, initially Jesus lists a few commandments and he said, well, I've been keeping all those. What else do I have to do? And Jesus says, go sell all you have, give it to the poor, and come follow me, pretty much. This is in Matthew 19. And when he heard that, he was sad because he had great riches. And so people take that story and what Jesus says after as though wealth is like demonic, like it's demonic to have money, because, and see, people stop at one verse and they don't keep going. So in verse 23, then Jesus said to his disciples, assuredly, I say unto you that it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And again, I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. And the disciples were shocked, like, well, they equated wealth with being blessed and with being saved. So they were like, whoa, hold up. Who can be saved then if the rich man can't enter into heaven? And so get this. So, all right, so Jesus says, and it's probably clearer in the other version. So it's in another gospel, Jesus reiterates a previous statement where he says, it's hard for a man who trusts in riches to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Now, the question is, what does rich mean? I can't go all the way into it. But if this statement were a blanket statement, that means Abraham will not be in the kingdom. That means Isaac. That means Jacob. The fathers of the faith,
Yeah.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yes.
You know,
Even Job actually
Job
wouldn't
won't
be
be in
there because
heaven.
he got restored. He was so filthy rich, even in his restoration.
Daniel worked for a king. He won't be in heaven, even though he was a prophet. You know,
Lydia, who had been raised from the dead
Mhm.
because she had been such a giver, purpose, and prophet, right?
King David won't be in heaven. So the question is, what does rich really mean in the Greek? I'm going to just say this and then I'm going to leave you on the cliffhanger. But there's a recent study that I listened to, and he said in the Greek, pretty much the definition of rich in the context is rich in self-righteousness.
You mean those Lord people? Lord, didn't I do this for you? And didn't I do that for you? And he's like, I don't know you.
Yeah, the rich young ruler pretty much said, hey, I've been keeping all the commandments. I'm good. Right?
What else do I need to do?
What else do I need to do?
I need to do? What else do I need to do? Not you, Jesus, but me.
Yeah. And get this. Zacchaeus now, Zacchaeus is rich. And Jesus does not put the same parameters on Zacchaeus. He doesn't tell him, sell all you have, give it to the poor, and come follow me. But Zacchaeus, experiencing his own conversion, said, Lord, I'll give away half my wealth to the poor and restore fourfold, And Jesus said, what? Today salvation has come to this house. Mm-hmm. So that's something that really needs to be studied and presented in the proper context. When you get a chance, look up, and maybe we'll drop it in the link. Myron Golden, you've been mentioning his name a bit. Myron Golden and Rich Man. Just YouTube Myron Golden, Rich Man. Okay? And he's going to go in. Be prepared to have your socks knocked off. Okay? So that is my rant for the moment.
Wow, that is really awesome. I'm really thankful to you for sharing that with us. I think it's important to understand why a business hero would be pursuing not only their purpose in life, but they're pursuing how to fulfill that purpose and it be profitable, because we don't want to be like the people that Jesus was speaking to about the talents, right? You all remember that parable where in the talents he had given 5 to one servant, 2 to another servant, and 1 to the last servant. And the first 2 servants, they doubled their return. But the last servant, he hid it in the ground, right? The purpose that he was supposed to fulfill, he didn't live it. And it wasn't just using his abilities, but actually being able to use that money that had been given to him by the king and to make good with it, and all he had in the end was excuses, and he suffered. And so are there any of us, and this is hard because I think I was definitely guilty of having gifts, skills, and talents, and actually waiting on my prayers to be answered so that they could become profitable and just holding on to it, instead of actually sowing it, using the good things God has given me. And I'm just talking about time. I'm just talking about the fact that my eyes work. I'm just talking about the fact that I know how to read, okay? And using those things to sow into my life so that I can become profitable versus I'm praying every day that God will send a big check in the mail for me so I can open up mama's house, which is something we'll tell you about in the future. It's a dream that we have. Mm-hmm. Or I'm just hoping that, one day God's going to send the right person my way, and not realizing that there's a part that I have to play in making the investment, and that when I do it wisely, the profitable outcome that I have can bless so many people. Mm-hmm. Like how many missionaries are hoping for a donation from a church or from a school or from some big giver name person that they know, how can we get into their audience chamber so that they can bless us versus actually causing their talents to be utilized in such a way that people want to give them money for what they do, right? Or want to pay for what they have.
That's, you mean like having a product or a service that they can do that can generate income? They can generate income
so that you're not dependent. Yeah. You're no longer dependent on some of those things. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That's really great.
And there are some, self-supporting ministries out there or, nonprofit organizations that have that. That's but true. I feel like a lot don't. and they're at the mercy of
Donations.
windfall donations or even grassroots donations.
Mhm.
And so having a product or service that can generate income,
Yeah.
for the organization would seem to be more reliable than, especially in the times of, where COVID's impacted things.
It's true.
I don't know when the next recession is going to be, but donations drop in times like those.
Yes.
So what if you had a way to generate income on your own?
Based on those skills that you've been given. That's really awesome. And we're talking about this, Victor, but honestly, we're growing, right? We're
We are
growing.
growing.
We're growing even in becoming profitable. So I'm going to be really excited when one day we're going to come on this show and we're going to say, hey, remember episode 6 where we were talking about this? And look at how God has helped us to use our talents to be even more profitable for him.
Mhm.
And now these are the missions or the things that we're sowing into in the world, that we're using the abundance of finances that we have for God's kingdom and for good. And so I'm really excited about that.
Amen.
So I know we had some people we wanted to remind you of, just in case this is your first time watching the show. We've had some amazing people on there. But before we go into that, do you mind if I just kind of, because I was ranting on your rant, right? I was
Yes.
talking, okay, I won't go there. I was talking about your stuff, but I actually wanted to share with you something that I've been learning about. But before I do that, man, if there's a way for you to maybe highlight one of the people that we have had on there, just really quick, we'll make it kind of like a intersection commercial, and then I'll come back in. How about that? Who's our first person that we wanted to
But
remind
you didn't
people
say
of?
what you were going
I
to say.
didn't, but I need to do something, so I want you
Okay.
to, yes.
All right. Well, in episode 2, because we
Can you
were
take us out?
episode 1, let's see.
Oh, yes, I remember we had Ronda.
Schedule like you're on a 9 to 5, because when you're on a 9 to 5, like I am, well, really it's a 7 to 7. You got to clock in, you got to clock out, and you have things that you need to do. Like you're not there to lollygag, you are there, like you're there. And so she says you need to run your own business the same way. Even if you work from home, it's not like you're just chillaxing or I'll get to this when I get to it, or maybe I will, maybe I won't. You get fired if you're doing that on a 9 to 5 or 7 to 7. So you gotta have discipline to do the same. You gotta have a mission statement. If you don't know what your mission is, you don't know where you're going. I think you recently developed a personal mission statement,
Yes,
right?
I have. I developed a personal mission statement, and this is based off of a concept I learned in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Great
Having
book.
a mission statement that's coming from within, back to that purpose that you live, so that when you're making decisions, it's based on what you have come up with is the mission. And when I say you, what God has shown you is your mission, which to me highlights that point number 3, right? Listen to others telling you what your gifts are. It may be God's clues to your business. Like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so that's how I developed my mission statement. It's based on what I saw God revealing to me, revealing to us, where our gifts were, where our passions were, what people were saying to us about what we were doing. And so that was really awesome.
So now are you gonna bring in?
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
yes, yes. Well, okay. So one of the things that I've really enjoyed when talking about being a business hero that I've learned also is how important it is to read. We have that quote or saying, reading is fundamental, right? Like fundamental, like foundational could be another word that we might use for that. Well, there's also a scripture which says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And as I've been doing copious amounts of reading and studying, like I feel like I could be getting a doctorate now, on all the reading and studying I'm doing as it pertains to our business and growing and developing. our programs that we offer to churches and businesses, I have really seen how I needed to read more. Like, I feel like I'm reading more now than I did even when I was in college, like just to study and to understand, and it be very purposeful. So that's one thing I wanted to share. As a business hero, let us continue to read like we were studying to get our doctorate, to become a master of the information that we are learning. And we heard that from Myron Golden as well, right? Yep. Become a master. And being a master isn't just knowing a lot of stuff, but knowing how to execute what you know. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, I know this, but it's not just head knowledge. I apply it, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great. That is great.
Yeah. Victor, have you ever met someone, and I don't mean this in a harmful way, but a person that has given you advice about children, but they don't have any children? Has that ever happened to you?
I'm sure it has.
Okay. Or a person that may, talk to you about being healthy, but you see them smoking, or you see them, participating in behaviors that indicate that they're not living what they're saying. And this is not a judgment, okay? Because I've definitely been that person who had a lot of opinions about what to do, and yet I was not doing that, right? And so I want to not be that person anymore. I want that when you see me, that you're like, wow, she walks the walk, and she talks, like what she's saying, she's doing, and you see it in every aspect of her life. And I've been getting that from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective mm-hmm. People. That's another one. Just having private victories will equal public victories. And so I really love that.
And I was scrolling through because I recently posted mm-hmm. this specifically about reading. Great books are meant to be reread until and after your life changes.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's really awesome.
And so we are in a transformation process as we are reading / listening to books and information, so that we can become, people want to become great business people who want to make a lot of money, but they want to skip the necessary growth and development that takes place. Like, I've mm-hmm. always said that my observation of God, or one of my observations about God, is, we might have a goal or destination, and, if it's within his will, he wants us to get there too, but he doesn't want to just take us from point A and drop us in point B. Mm-hmm. He wants us to travel. He wants us to journey, because in journeying up the mountains, down the hills, through the bushes, to, whatever, like, there's a development process that has to happen, so that by the time we get to point B, we're not the same person we mm-hmm. were when we were at point A. Like, mm-hmm. we're becoming a different person as we grow and as we journey.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I think about taking trips, like when we were in the mission group mm-hmm.
With
NABS, like the experience, right? We gain experience on the travel. If I just, up and went from point A to point B without the journey in between, I missed all those memories and experiences and opportunities and people along the way that were a tremendous blessing as we went from point A to point B, or from point A to point Z, right? Yeah. And so an experience allows, when you have experiences, we know from mental health that your experiences actually shape how you think, how you feel, and therefore how you act. Yeah. And so that's all character development, Yes. And so God won't just bust me out with some muscles. I've got to actually have the experience, the experience of getting up early or staying up a little bit to do it, learning how to eat properly and all of those things. I have to have the experience to appreciate what I will have in the end.
Yes, and I've been watching you.
Been watching me?
I've been watching you. No, like, seriously. Seriously, no. I've been seeing you get up. I've been seeing you go to the gym. I've been seeing you getting up as early as me and going to read or going to work out, and, see you putting stuff around the house on the walls, goals, vision boards and stuff. I'm just like, man, I knew she was wonderful and fine and a few other things I could say, but, it's just like, I just see your growth and development and your drive to not just become profitable, but to become transformed in the process.
So you've been watching me.
I've been watching. I got my eye on you.
Hey, let's stay focused.
So we're
I'll
gonna go
hold
into
all
our
matrimonial comments. But in any case, that's awesome. Thank you for watching me. I've been watching you too, by the way, and I'm really inspired by you. You really encourage me, not only verbally, but just with your life. And so I'm thankful that what people may see here on the camera is not an act or a show. You know what I'm saying? But it's the real deal. It's the real deal. Real deal Holyfield. Am I taking it back too far?
what's that?
Okay, don't worry about it.
All right.
Yes.
So we're gonna go on to our
Yes,
episode
because
3
we got to get done,
participants.
right? We got to get done. You're right. So,
Yeah,
yes, who do we have on there?
we
Tell us.
had the Awonis, Michael and Erica, and we had a blast at their luau the other
Oh,
night
it was
that they
awesome.
advertised.
It was great.
We made a lot of good connections that we're
Mhm.
supposed to be linking up together in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Hey, so if you're trying to like make friends and like meet people, like go to events. You know, it was great, alcohol-free Christian atmosphere.
it was wonderful.
Yes. Shout out to mom and dad. Thanks for taking care of the kids for us.
And shout out to Victor. You know, Victor was actually hula hooping with his neck. Yes, and he won the contest. I wish I could plop some footage in there, but I would then have to move out of my house.
Don't even think about it.
So tell us, what were the Awani's keys, honey?
Yes. All right. Well, speaking of fun, they were talking about having fun in the process. You know, business doesn't have to be all work.
That's right.
You gotta be intentional about having fun sometimes because
Yes,
you
it's
can
true.
be so driven. But take time to have fun, especially if you're married. Like, don't let the work separate you. Like, let it bring you closer together. No risk, no reward. I am the king of. Well, I used to be king of not wanting to take risks,
Mm,
and
true.
I've had to shove some of that to the side.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes you've got to do that in order to grow. It's part of the journey. You're not going to have a risk-free life, you know,
Mm,
especially if you're pursuing business. Business is all about taking risks. So
that's right.
no risk, no reward. Be obedient. If God tells you to do something, do it. Dream. Don't think small, think big. I once heard, I think it was Dr. Eric Thomas say, if your dream looks doable, it's not big enough.
Mm.
If the dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And I think we've got a couple of scary dreams.
Oh, we've got some scary dreams.
You know, tell us a little bit about Hope House.
Oh man. Okay, so one of our scary dreams is that we would have hope houses throughout Africa, okay, and the United States as well. And Hope House would basically be a place where the mental health needs of the community can be met from a holistic approach, okay. And so Hope House has gardening, art, Bible classes, but then they also have, modalities that help with your mental health that have been proven to work and are efficient, and they follow the biblical model as we see in the scriptures. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for people to be treated with much dignity, and it also creates jobs for the community that the Hope House is a part of as well. And so people can not only come there for help, they can come there to be helpers and to learn how to affect their community for good.
Mhm.
And of course, our dream is that in these particular centers of influence, the people will be paid very well, as well as receiving very high level care.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So, yeah, that's a scary dream. But we're
Yes,
going
because it's
forward.
throughout Africa. It's not just in one place or the other, but absolutely, yeah.
Sounds like that's going to take a whole lot of money.
It will take a whole lot of
Mhm.
money. It will. And, God is able.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
All right. And point
Mhm.
5, and there were more points, right, for each presenter. There are probably more points than we were able to share at this time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
last point here is keep moving beyond failure. Keep moving beyond failure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So thank you, Michael and Erica Awoniyi.
Yes, you guys
from
are so
Joined
great.
at the Hip Marriage Ministry.
Yes, can't wait to come to another thing with you all. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yes.
Did you have something else you want to say, or are we going to go on
No,
to
we better
next?
keep going because I know we're almost out of time for this show.
All right. Well, next we had Raven White, empowerment speaker, life wellness, and mental health coach of Project 411 and Regaining Eden.
Raven was on fire.
Yes,
Man.
she was. Yes, she was.
I just kept bobbing my head on that show. When you go back and look at the show, please excuse the bobbing of my head, because she just was she tore it up on the show. Okay, you have to go back and look at it if you missed it.
Yes. So she said, avoid distraction.
Yes.
Avoid distraction. Something I'm still working on.
Mm.
Yeah, if you lose time when you're distracted. So some of us might need to do a Facebook fast or whatever kind of fast. You know what's distracting you. If you're trying to start a business, you might gotta back up off of that.
Well, and I love how she talks about distractions that may come in unlikely ways. Like she literally highlighted a situation that was going on with a family member and how their health kept failing and failing. And that she saw after a while that was actually a distraction of her mental capacity, of her energies. And so some distractions we might think are distractions, but it actually could be something else. Like, wow, would you ever consider family on some level to be a distraction? That's amazing. Like, so yeah.
And she wasn't saying that family is a distraction in every case, but in her particular situation, God revealed to her that, at that time, the situation was distracting her. So stay connected to God so you know what isn't a distraction or what does or what doesn't apply to you.
That's right.
Next, she said, and I mean, this goes without saying, make sure you're using a portion of the business income to go back into the business. You don't want to just pay yourself the entire, income from a project and have nothing to invest into keeping it going. So that's a duh. But maybe somebody out there didn't know that. So if you didn't, now you do. All right.
And I like that idea because I remember there was another company that was saying, a lot of times when people invest back into their business, they do just enough to rinse, but not to rinse and repeat, right? So you want to be able to rinse and repeat, and even more than once when you're thinking about putting it back into your business. So I believe that's what she's speaking to as well.
All right. Great. And lastly, we have build an inner supportive network of people. And so one of her goals was to have a Project 411 agency in every state in the United States.
Yes.
And that way she could build a network in every state. So if she had to go to a particular state to speak or to do a project, she already has people on the ground there and can say, hey, I need you and you and you to speak at this event. No problem, Raven, we'll be there. And not only so that you can help, but so that you can help, that people can call on you. If you have a good network, your network can help you in so many ways, even if you don't necessarily work with your company. Being able to say, hey, I know a person that can do this. Let me call them up. Or somebody knows what you do and they can call you up and provide opportunities for you that you might not have had if you had not made the connections, and I really think this is important because, growing up, I've been the independent guy. I can do it myself. I don't need nobody. And I'm still being broken out of that.
So am I. I've been that same person.
Yeah. But as I've broken out of that, I've met wonderful people, some of which have been on the podcast or are going to be on the podcast, or we've just made connections in ways that either we've been able to help them or they've been able to help us. We've gotten calls for interviews that we weren't even looking for just because of connections that we've had.
And, we've heard it said your network can equal your net worth. Right? Because we're talking about profits, right? And we need to be very profitable servants for God. And so being able to not just have a committee of one is going to be extremely important for you. And to also not be so to yourself that you're not able to connect to other people. As a business, as an organization, you have other people that you connect with, that you work with, that you collaborate on, even profits. You put on something and share the profits with that person and vice versa will be very helpful for your organization, for your business, company, however you're pursuing your business, as it were.
It's like another quote that I heard, and I don't know if it was Eric Thomas or Les Brown. I've been building my repertoire of people who I've been listening to, but one or both have said, by yourself you might go faster, but with a team you go farther.
Wow. That's awesome. I mean, that's a biblical principle too, right? Like two are better than one.
Yes, indeed.
And a threefold cord is not easily broken, right? That sounds like a team to me.
It does.
Awesome. Okay, who do we have next?
All right. Next and lastly, we have Dr. Frederick Woods. He was with us last week. We had an amazing time with him also. He's a counselor, consultant, and coach of, I didn't put the name, have mercy, 3C Empowerment. And the C's are, counseling, consulting, and coaching.
Yes.
And so as a counselor, he's actually a licensed therapist,
Author.
chaplain, amazing guy. And his keys have been develop communication.
First, before you jump in there, I know you're saying it, but listen, if there was a show to go back, go watch all of them.
Yes.
Go watch all of them, okay? And you definitely want to click on this one as well, all right? Because this one needs to be played at your churches, okay? This one, all of them really are going to be beneficial to you personally, and even to those that you love and you serve. This one needs to be played at your church. For those of you who are watching that are, active in your local church, you basically get a free video in watching this one. Okay. He really goes in on how to expand mental health in the church and in the community. It was amazing. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, indeed. And so he said, develop communication, or I probably should put develop communication skills. And this podcast is helping me to develop my communication skills.
You're doing great.
Thank you. But yes, being able to communicate your thoughts, not just communicate your thoughts, but communicate in a way that people are understanding what you're saying is very important. We were talking about that earlier today.
Yes.
Because you can talk and nobody understand what you're saying, even if you're using plain English. And so it's good to, ask questions to get feedback as you're talking, make sure, hey, are you understanding what I'm saying? So that's one. Two, focus. We kind of touched on that with avoiding distraction. 3, have a plan. We've heard it growing up. Those who fail to plan to fail.
My goodness, that's messed up.
And so if you don't have a plan of where it's like getting on the
funny.
road.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but wow.
It's like getting on the road with saying you're going to New York and you don't have a map. Well, everybody uses maps per se. Or not
GPS.
Having GPS.
Alexa, something.
I don't think Alexa does.
Really? Okay.
GPS.
See.
I haven't heard it. Maybe she does. I don't know.
I don't honestly know. And there we go.
The whole point,
good
though,
point.
let's come back. Yes. So traveling with no GPS, saying you're going to New York and you haven't been there before, you can end up you wouldn't end up in Timbuktu because that would be going overseas.
But sure it would take you way longer.
You could be headed to California, and that's not anywhere near New York. So, yeah, have a plan. Okay, 4 and 5 really go together. It says keep learning and be teachable. We're reading, we're learning. Attend live events. Live seminars.
I want to definitely co-sign on going to live events. Like, just want to plug Jeremy Anderson's Academy. It's a speakers academy.
Next Level Speakers Academy.
Thank you. Next Level Speakers Academy with Jeremy Anderson. If you don't know who he is, that's another person to plug. We're going to have him on the show one day. Maybe some of his people will be awesome. But his academy is amazing. And it will help you with a lot of the things that we're talking about here that Dr. Woods is speaking on. But I enjoyed his live event, especially for those of you who are of the faith. What I appreciated, Victor, about Jeremy's live event was that it was so spiritual. Like, I thought I was going there for a speakers conference. We're going to learn how to articulate. We're going to learn how to put our PowerPoints together. And literally, we were transformed at the meeting. Like, I didn't realize how much I actually needed to surrender and give my whole heart to God. And I've already... I hate to say it, but I've been teaching, speaking, and all kinds of stuff for God. So I thought, not realizing until I went to that live event that there had been a part of me that I had been holding back for safety reasons, as I saw it. Safety. And so they took the time to think, and it wasn't like, oh, I sat at a Bible study. For some of us, thinking of going to a spiritual event may seem like painful. Like, oh man, it's going to be boring. This is Bible study. I don't even know what they're talking about. Do I even understand it? Do I trust it? It wasn't like that. It was amazing. And it was so powerful how the spiritual points that they were making had everything to do with how to grow your business and how to be an eloquent, excellent speaker. Like, it was amazing. So, and we met lots of people there, by the way. So live events, kudos, high five on those.
And while he definitely continued to weave in the spiritual, that brother's profitable.
Yes.
He's got next level speaking, next level real estate, next level trucking, and probably a couple of other things that I don't know about.
Yeah.
That brother's profitable.
Very profitable, and it's pursuing purpose and profit. Absolutely.
Yes, he also has a nonprofit component that
Yes. Uh-oh, we have a little interruption coming up. I'll be back.
Okay. Yes. So with interruption, we have those from time to time, and usually things are not as they seem. But yes. So moving on, after we talked about live events, we're talking about getting a mentor or coach. This is very important. I tried to start photography. No, I started a photography business a few years ago, and then life happened. We had a second baby, and that kind of put things to a screeching halt at the time. But I did not. While I had photography coaches, I did not have a business coach, and we have seen the benefits of having a coach. It's so important because it'll save you a lot of time and headache trying to figure out things on your own. Maybe some of you out there are trying to do it totally on your own and you're running into a lot of hardship, or maybe you're just gifted like that and you haven't had that issue. But I think for a lot of people, they don't want to be told what to do. They don't want somebody necessarily making them feel like they're being controlled. But I'll tell you what, we have gotten some great counsel from business coaches and even saved from a lot of headache. Or we we found out that there were some headaches that we could have averted if we had the proper coaching at the time. And so, shout out to Fred Bussey, shout out to Jeff Golden, shout out to Dr. Woods. For all of them have poured into us a, a wide array of knowledge and wisdom when it comes to starting a business. There's some aspects of things that you just will not know. And as good as YouTube University might be, there's nothing like being able to talk directly to somebody that can give you direct information and answer direct questions. You will typically won't necessarily get that from somebody on YouTube that has like a million followers and doesn't have the time to go through all the comments and questions to answer. So having a business coach or a business mentor is very key, very crucial to having a business. And I was just talking about point five, getting a mentor or coach. Talked about Dr. Woods, the information we've gotten from him, from Fred Bussey, from Jeff Golden.
Oh yeah, Fred is awesome too. Yeah, really good person. Jeff, amazing guy.
Everything okay back there?
Yes, everything is okay. You know what? As business people, we keep our kids with us. We do. The world is a place of pain. And so we're still growing as business people on, who, when, how when it comes to our kids. So anyway, our kids are with us. And they're doing fine. Doing good.
I thought so.
Yep. But I'm grateful, because one of the goals of having our kids with us is actually the hope that they will learn how to run their own business. That's another why. When we talked about the show at the beginning, what are our whys? And so another reason, not just safety and stuff like that for our kids, but another why that we have is that we want them to see what it's actually like to grow a business from the ground up. And we want them to know how to run a business. Like I have an imagination that if time should last, that my 12-year-old daughter and her sister are running their own little business, or big business for that matter.
When they become 12.
Right.
We don't have a 12-year-old.
We don't have a 12-year-old. No, we don't. So there's going to take some time. But also, wouldn't it be great that our children don't have to go look for a job? They have a job within the family business. And they don't have to look or make a business. But if they decide that they want to continue what the family legacy has going on, if they decide to, it's here for them, versus we have to go out and build up something, but they will know how to. And so, yay. So I guess there's pluses and minuses with what we're saying. There's a sacrifice for sure. But as we grow, we know it'll be worth it.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I've enjoyed this show. with you, Victor. I'm glad we've been able to recap some of the amazing people that we've had on. And we have some really great people coming up,
Yes,
a
we
really
do.
awesome couple that will be coming on in our upcoming shows. And so we hope that you'll get a chance to really hear their story and how they grew their business from the ground up and have become very profitable. And so that's going to be awesome. And they have kids as well. I think like
Hmm.
five kids.
Something like that, 4 or 5.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll find out when they get on the show. But in any case, thank you so much for those of you who will see this recording and for watching. And feel free to like, share, subscribe, put your comments in. If you'd like to get in contact with any of the people that we have discussed on the show, we tried to put links, right, with the shows of how you could contact those people and utilize their services.
Just go watch the shows.
And of course,
Watch all of them.
yes. And if you want to contact us, you can do that through painunwasted.org. We'd love to come in, help your business, help your church or your organization as it pertains to being more mental health aware and responsive. Let's stay safe out here, right? And so, anything else we want to do or say before we close out?
No.
Tell them about the Myron Golden Challenge that's coming up. Yeah.
Yes. So Dr. Myron Golden,
Mhm.
Christian business guru. He was
Very profitable.
the guy I was looking for when I was starting photography business that I didn't know existed. And he has just a wide array of knowledge.
Mhm.
And I mean, he is pretty much a multimillionaire. He does coaching, consulting, speaking, training, and he has the Make More Offers Challenge once a month, 5-day challenge. I think the next one is June 20th to 24th,
Mhm.
Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 hours a day, depending on if you sign up for VIP, where you get to come on an hour before the actual presentation and listen to people's questions about their business. And even though you may or may not get to ask a question, depending on what level of VIP you sign up for, hearing what other people have to say are things that you can glean and get info that you didn't even think about
And
asking.
can I highlight, you might say to yourself, listening to other people's questions, no. But listen, people have gotten in the room, as it were, and been able to scale their business from 6 figures to 7 figures just from hearing the information that he shares with others. This is real, okay? This is not made up. Like, we've literally been on multiple challenges now and have seen how people have come back on and said, I did what you told me to do, or I did what you told somebody else to do, and this is how it helped my business, and this is how we're making profits now. Myron Golden has helped entrepreneurs have 6-figure days, 7-figure days, multiple. Okay,
At least 6 figures a month.
Yes. And just a little plug, for people of color. A lot of times I feel that, and I don't know if this is a people of color thing, but I'll just say, as a woman of color, I feel like I'm in a training program where I've missed information that I feel like other people have just known all along, and it's really a blessing to get on there and to actually have your mind blown that somewhere in the world, multiple people are making 6 figures in one day. Okay, not just over a year or over a lifetime, but making 6 figures in a day and doing it with integrity. Okay,
Yes.
with integrity and with the principles of God. And so that's amazing.
And Myron has no shame in saying that he's a Christian. All of his business principles come from the Word of God.
Yes, biblical
So if you've been
models.
looking for a business guru that is Christian unashamedly and still being able to make profit without, getting off track, he's your guy. And so check him out on YouTube. Put in Myron Golden testimonials. Like we said, we talked about earlier, put in Myron Golden and Rich Man, and you'll hear his studies
He used to be a
on.
trash man. He used
He
to
was
be
a
a
garbage
trash
man
man.
making $6.25 an hour.
Yes.
He,
You
there's
just
so
gotta
much we
go
can
check it
say.
out.
Yes. And pretty soon we'll have some products to tell you about that. We'll drop links
Let's
on.
claim it that we'll have him on too, and his brother Jeff. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
Yes.
So with that said, again, like, share, and subscribe to the Business Heroes podcast on the Pain Unwasted YouTube channel. And we hope that you all stay blessed. We hope that you're blessed by the show. And we hope to see you again next time.
Yes, see you again by God's grace.